Hello everyone, I am Nirvana Sparkle. This is New 26 Harmony Kingdom. And no, I'm not doing this off of a hypnotism spell, I'm doing this of my own free will. Starlight Glimmer has had a mixed reaction from the fans ever since her reformation at the end of the Cutie Remark. She hasn't been in many episodes this season, but in all the episodes she has been in, she has been a bit player. This is really the first time she isn't one. With the episode Every Little Thing She Does, which is kind of a reference to a great 80s song. Every little thing she does is magic, by the way, is the full lyric. And yes, that could apply here. Short end of the story is basically very comical, very relatable, and very good. That's the short answer. Let me explain the long answer. Starlight is a magic genius, as we've seen in the opening scene of this episode, mastering all of the previous skill techniques that we've seen throughout the series. Things like transconfigurations, teleportation, shields, and other things, and even doing something similar to Dragon Ball Z's after image technique. Although she's a magic master, as we've known from the start, she isn't much of a friendship master. And she's been procrastinating. Trust me, I know all about procrastination. When I was in school, I didn't like doing my homework a lot. So much so that in middle school and high school, I had to literally take study hall classes to make sure I did all my work in school. Because I never did them at home. But because Twilight urges her, she finally decides to tackle a problem, or 5, using the other members of the Harmony 6 with each of their individual lessons. But of course, she only looks at them as base task on base value, and when faced with all of them and an inability to choose one or to properly multitask, she decides naturally, as Starlight would naturally do, to try to use magic to solve the problem. What ensues is a hilarious setup of jokes that are, in this reviewer's opinion, borderline creepy. Some of those jokes are best delivered from Applejack, quoting lines from famous movies and even famous books. Trust me, it's roll in the floor laughter funny, as well as the hypnotism itself, although it's creepy. Got this wide-eyed look upon them, and yes, the expressions on every pony are top-notch. But, similar to the episode Princess Spike, in fact, you could say this is Princess Spike with unicorns. Everything goes awry in the form of Murphy's Law. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And most certainly it does, almost in a domino rally effect. And when you know it, right on cue cue the worst happens. Sometimes when we're given something, we often take it at base value. We don't read into what it actually means. Some things, whether it be a simple task with a friend, can often mean something else, which all the tasks were. It wasn't about performing the actual task. It's about getting to know everyone on that deeper level of starting to be friends. And sometimes we're a little nervous about, well, failure or letting people down, especially those that we hold in high regard. After all, that's how we are when our heroes take us under proverbial wings. We all want to live up to their individual standards, do what they would do and make them proud. But not only would a protege or a mentor enjoy the success, they also don't mind seeing the failure. Failure is part of the deal. If you spend your life afraid of failure, you will never succeed in life. And that's a basic quote for the day, as it were. And that's how Starlight was feeling. But in her effort not to fail, she failed to understand what was going on, what the meaning was all about. And she created bigger problems, mountains out of molehills, than really what's necessary. Sometimes looking at a problem from face value and trying to solve it simply is the problem. Sometimes the easiest solution is not often the best one. And true friends will allow you to grow even in failure. Don't be afraid of looking stupid or saying something stupid or not exactly getting it at first. Friendship, much like any big task that needs to be done, is a step-by-step process and is not easy. Especially when you have somebody that has spent their entire life mastering the technique right before your eyeballs. Trust me, I've had many a mentor and many a hero that I look up to even here doing these videos. Plenty, in fact. But I know if I keep working at it and fight through the failure and the fear of it, that I'll one day get to a point where I'm comfortable enough to start succeeding. So, how did this episode turn out? Well, great animations, great expressions, and even funnier jokes highlight this episode. Starlight becomes relatable, but yet her ideal problem solver and ends up borderlining on something that she would have done back in the episode The Cutie Map, and almost borderlines on something evil. But with that earlier scene in the first minutes before its theme, we are already established that she's a magic master and comfortable in her own zone. So it fits her to go to the nth extreme to solve this problem, although it's wrong. we know it's going to end up okay, but we end up feeling sorry for her when it all starts going wrong. Because after all, she means well, much like Spike did back in Princess Spike. It's just everything that will go wrong often does. And sometimes we always prepare for what is right, but some of us have problems dealing with what would happen if things go wrong. And clearly Starlight did here. This episode is fun, has some underhanded lessons about multitasking and the dangers of it. But overall, it's a great lesson about friendship, about not being afraid of failure, and starting with the basics. And to always look deeper into something that is given to you. There might be an underlying meaning behind it. Starlight might not be ready to be called the true seventh. After all, that's still Sunset Shimmer, but she is largely on her way. This is a much better episode than Princess Spike was, that only got a 3. So I'm willing to give every little thing she does a 5 out of 6. Although not perfect, with some cringeworthy and borderline creepy moments, the fun and the moral and Starlight's relatability happens to make this episode actually better than the sum of its parts. Similar to Princess Spike, but much better executed, every little thing she does is a winner. Let's just hope her growth continues to grow. Until next week, I am Nirvana Sparkle. Find peace in your own Nirvana. Thanks for watching, and for all the procrastinators out there, I understand why you do it, but at least try to get one thing done off your to-do list. God knows I will. See you next week.